Are we live? Are we recording? I think we're recording. Hold on. Graham, welcome back, man.
Thanks a million.
You put on a few pounds since I last, Graham, have you?
Loads, yeah. It's a Euro and Easter egg, sure. Easily done.
It's fucking scary, the Euro and Easter egg, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's getting a bit ridiculous now at this stage.
I've already eaten mine, so.
Yeah, the ones that you have already, but you'll eat a few more by the end of the weekend.
No, I'm trying to be good.
And come here, boy, and I was jesting there when I said you put on a bit of weight.
Gonna cry now.
I know you're injured, and that's all I know.
Yeah.
So can you fill me and everyone else up to speed as to why you're getting fat?
I'm back doing a bit of running actually, and cycling. Got out for a 10-miler this morning and a couple of other mornings this week, and it seems to be holding up all right.
What seems to be holding up all right?
The knee.
Okay.
Everything is referenced as the knee as opposed to my knee, but so I was attempting the Ireland Way. It was fastest known time, or FKT, world record attempt in January. And I started in Ballycastle in Antrim, and I was meant to finish Castletownbere in Cork, and it was a 1,000-kilometre run. And the record was 15 days. I was hoping to do it in 10 days, yeah. And then the first night, I got up into a wind farm. So I had one lad crewing, but he was nowhere. He was a couple of hours away. So I was up about a 2-hour hike up the top of a mountain up.
Sorry to cut across now, but you said that you had a man crewing. But just again, so I have this clear and people know what's going on. It's an off-road race.
Yeah.
So it's not as if you've got a caravan 10 feet behind you with all the gear and all the food in the world.
So it's the Ireland Way, so it's all fire roads, beaches, bog roads,
access roads or whatever, like farmland trails, shit like that.
You're just avoiding all the main roads as much as you can. So Andy Riley was crewing with me. He does all the crewing. Everything was going grand. Was loving it. Genuinely thought I could finish it, or had it finished, even though it was only day one. Went up the access road to a wind farm somewhere in the Spirrin Mountains, I think. As I was going up and up, snow started to appear, a couple of snowmen, and into freezing fog. I was up around the wind turbines, like you literally couldn't see your hand in front of your face. I could hear the wind turbines, but I couldn't see them, and I could probably touch one if I wanted to, but I couldn't see it. So I couldn't see anything. Got to a point where it says no access, but it was on the route, so I fucking hopped the fence and went off. I rang Andy actually. He told me, he said, look, it's on the route, so just keep going. And then it got worse as I got up to the top of the mountain, and then I lost the path. And as I said, I couldn't see in front of myself. I looked down the ground, it was all grass. Ran this way, all grass. Ran that way, all grass. I'd lost the path altogether. Rang Andy to see could he direct me, because I had a tracker on me. And when I rang him, phone died. Watch wasn't doing what it was meant to do navigation wise. And I think for the first time I properly panicked. I'd say in my life, to be honest. I didn't know what to do. I knew I couldn't make it back to the road where he left me, which is 2 hours away. I was fucking hypothermia was setting in. I was head to toe in ice. All the icicles were starting to form on the sweat from me being down below by the time I got to the top. Just kept running. Got to a turbine, didn't know what to do. There was a porta cabin for the workers up there. I thought, will I smash it in? Will I smash in the door and just jump in and wait till they come in the morning? Or, because I was always prepared, and when I left Andy I said, right, I'll see you over the top, and I just thought run up and down a couple of hours grand. So I had no power banks, I had no spare head torch, nothing. So I was running blind. Thought to myself, if the head torch goes, now this is in the middle of fucking nowhere, there's no lights to be seen, and I couldn't see anything with the freezing fog anyway. And I thought, if the head torch goes, that's it. What do I do? Do I just keep running till I hit a town 6-7 hours away, which I wouldn't have made, or do I just sit down on the ground and hope that
you wake up in the morning?
Yeah, genuinely. I think it was the first time in my life I was properly thought I had fucked up and there was no way out of this. Like, and like, it's easy to say it now, and if somebody was telling me now, like, and it brings us back to when we were in school, like, the first thing you'd say to someone, yep, did you die? Because you're sitting in front of me, so shut the fuck. But it genuinely freaked me out. So I ran blind to try and get out of the fog, and just by chance I ran that way instead of that way. Not that I knew where I was, but in about 20 seconds I went, my right hip disappeared fully, my right leg fully up to my hip into 3 bog holes in about 20 seconds, and my left knee just imploded underneath me. I think I clipped my chin with my knee. I was that low to the ground at one stage. Kept running like fuck to get out of the fog, and then I saw a light maybe 5 miles away, 6 miles away, and I'd run 108 kilometers at this stage on the first day, and I'd say they were my fastest few kilometers.
And what was the light?
I didn't know. It turned out to be a farmhouse, so I just kept running. Had to cross 2 rivers, like fast flowing rivers, ripped all my gear going over barbed wire fence, thorn bushes, everything, excuse me, to try and get over, and then just saw this glint in the corner, and it was a bit of tarmac road, and nearly started fucking crying. Got the road, didn't know where I was going, didn't know whether to go right or left, went left, and there was a good few houses up along it, so I said, right, keep going, see does the watch kick back in, find the purple line that I was meant to be following, and if not, then just knock in one of these houses. But it was 1 o'clock in the morning, do you know?
Give you some sketch.
Up north. I don't know what area this is or what. So I kept going past all these houses. One house was up, he was watching something, so I said, right, just keep going, see can you see the town up ahead of you, and if not, go back to your man's house. And then I got to a point where all the houses were gone, no lights in front of me, and I just thought, no, I'm not doing this again. So I ran back to go to your man's house to, I don't know, fucking let me in. And just before I got to his house, Andy came up in the van because he was tracking me. I'm sure I didn't know he was tracking, or I didn't know if he could see me or anything. And he was there, and just managed to book a hotel that night. She was waiting up for us for hours to get there, and pretty sure I was hypothermic. Scald not shower, about 14 jumpers on, 2 duvets, woolly hat, and shook myself to sleep. Hoping I'd wake up the next morning to go again, which I did. Had the dirty Ulster fry and set off, but it fucking spooked me now. Really spooked me.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I've never been spooked. But the knee then, so second day went off, went off like Robocop with the amount of power banks and spare head torches and everything. And off we went, got 80k done that day, 85 I think.
This is obviously after blowing out your knee.
Yeah, but...
And were you kind of going, oh, I can get through this, or was it not sore?
It wasn't sore.
Yeah.
No, but I like when it happened, I felt the crunch.
Yeah, something went.
And several things went. But the knee was fine, and I genuinely don't know if it was to do with the cold that kept the inflammation down, and the adrenaline through to the next day. Got about 80k into the second day, heading off up the mountains, no phone reception, not even internet, but no actual phone reception to ring Andy. And I was like, if I go up that mountain again, and he doesn't know where I am, I don't have enough. Again, I wasn't ready for it. So I slowed down an awful lot, hung around a bit, and then he came up, eventually found me. Headed into the night then, and then just out of nowhere, now this is all off-road, all uneven surface, but out of nowhere then, I just got this unmerciful bang to the knee, and tried running, couldn't run, tried again, couldn't run. Now I can, not blow my own horn, but I love suffering, and I can endure an awful lot, but this mechanically was no go. So I stopped, started to walk, and then within about 30 seconds of walking, that was it was just gone. So got into the van, we said, right, we'll cut it short now, go to the hotel and reassess in the morning. Didn't sleep a wink that night with the pain, tried every different position I could, still told myself I'd start the next day, tried to get to the bathroom, couldn't get to the bathroom, holding the walls and everything. Andy was still asleep, and I went over to get a bit of breakfast. There was one tiny step out the hotel, and the knee gave way, fell to the floor. Still told myself, get a bit of food into you, you'll be grand. Got over to the spar, bit of food, and just barely made it back. And he agreed that, look, like if it was 2 days left, I'd have walked it, you know, or I'd have crawled the fucking thing. But I was only 2 days into it, so there was no point. Took me a good 2 days to convince myself that I was injured enough to stop. And then I got the MRI, and I tore my ACL, MCL, there was 2 cartilage tears, hamstring tear, femoral cyst, and then there was bad dose of tendinopathy in the knee as well. So that's why I'm fat.
And come here,
because I took feeling sorry for myself for the first time in my life.
Is there, or what was there at the time, and is there now a concern that this could be a career-ending type thing?
An earlier knee replacement, I'm sure, yeah. But sure, we're all getting one anyway.
You might be. I'm not fucking queued up for one.
Yeah, I don't know. So now I have to be sensible in how fast I go back or how hard I go back. Do you know? So like as soon as I'm ready, I'm going back to finish it.
Okay, so is that the next?
No.
That's still the.
I'm gonna do. So I did a double Everest on the bike last year in Tara.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain. I know what it is, but for other people who don't know how much of a lunatic you are.
Anywhere in the world, and whatever the elevation gain is, you cycle that as many times until the elevation is the same as the height of Everest, Mount Everest. So it's been done thousands of times all over the world. And
sorry, just to be clear about that, it's an increase in elevation, so the ride down doesn't even count.
No, it's only the increase.
Yeah, so you count the distance on your way up.
And then have fun.
And then on your way up, and then on your way up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been done, Everest has been done loads, but a double was never done before. Not in Ireland, and only a handful in the world. So, like, normally, like, if you were doing it for time or whatever, you'd pick a good steep hill and you just go at it. But I was doing it for the Alzheimer's Centre in Navan, so I picked the Hill of Tara.
A nice easy hill.
It is a grand hill, but it's a long hill with feck all elevation in it.
Yes, I know what you mean.
So I ended up having to do 250 reps non-stop.
Yeah, so if it was shorter and steeper, you wouldn't have had to do nearly as many.
Like, say the normal Everest might be 110k, mine was 360k.
Ooh.
And then I had to go and do it again. Took 2 days. I think it was about 47 hours. And about 20 minutes sleep in the 47 hours.
Does that appeal to you though? Okay, here's this mad, really hard thing. I know what I'll do. I'll put thumbtacks in my shoes. Do you know that kind of way?
It does, but everyone asks the same thing. Like, why? I don't fucking know. It does appeal to me, but it's for me that I do it. It's not for kudos and your class.
Yeah.
It's there's something really hard. Do you think you can do it? I think I can do it. Right, we'll go and do it. There's an old lad that comes into the shop, and he said it on RAM, and then he said it on Race Around Ireland as well. And he said, "You have these things done before. You have these things finished before you even start them. I know by you as soon as you mention it." And I never thought of that until he said it. I thought it was a nice outlook from someone else. But I don't know if I can do them.
Until you do them.
Until I do them, yeah. But then I'm my own harshest critic then, because I think if I do it, well then anyone can do it. They just haven't tried. And this is where it's spiraling out of control. Is as soon as I do something, I don't think it was as daunting or as challenging as everyone thought.
Or maybe even that you thought.
Or that I thought, because it's done. So, go again. Go harder, go bigger. So, one of them will fucking kill me, I'm sure.
Which brings me nicely along to Chasing Breaking.
Yeah.
The name of the book, the name of the podcast, the name of the TV series, the name of the drama.
Yeah. the name of the cheap porno when I'm washed up out of work and looking for money.
Because it's funny, because the first time you were on, I was fucking banging that drum pretty hard, you know.
Yeah.
Get online, promote yourself, have a dedicated, you know, page for you and your endeavours and all that jazz. And you've since bitten the bullet and done it. But and I'm struggling, the reason I'm particularly interested in this is because I struggle a little bit with the whole off the lead thing. I don't mind promoting off the lead as much, because that's not, like, if it was the Fran McKeown show, I don't know if
like your website.
Like the website, exactly. Well, that was work, that was different.
Yeah.
But there's something about that self-promotion thing that I think Irish people get less than Americans say.
Yeah, it is an Irish thing. I didn't want a page for it, but I had said the last time I didn't think I'd done anything worthy enough.
That's right.
To have my own page, but yet I had done stuff that only one other Irish person has ever done.
But as you just said 2 seconds ago, as soon as you've done something,
I know, yeah,
it's like, that's not worth it.
But then I had, like, Solo Race Around Ireland in mind. I don't think I had my own page for that. Do you know, it's meant to be the second toughest race in the world. But I genuinely didn't think I stood a chance in doing it. I ended up coming third, riddled with injuries. But even after that, I was like, no, like, if I can do it, then I know several lads that could do it. They just haven't tried yet. That's not to say they can if I can do it. But yeah, it's shameless self-promotion, isn't it?
It is a bit, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that to a degree. Like, it's a necessary evil to a certain degree. Yeah. Or is it? I mean, you know your industry better than I do.
I know, yeah. Like, I think the reason why I set it up in the end then was because I didn't want to be spamming the shop page, Spun Cycles and Spun Run page, all the time. Do you know, it's great for the events to have it up on the page, but not every cycle I do or every train. Do you know? But then I don't share my Strava stuff or my training things. I don't share fucking Gandhi quotes. I still don't share Gandhi quotes. I said that the last time as well. I don't try to inspire or assist or any of that, but, like, do you know, people have an interest in the events I do, so I just thought I better have a page or two that they can follow it on, and that's it, and join in if they want, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I get.
Which it is great. Like, the first night, the first night on the Ireland Way, just before I'd done my knee and I was running down the road, and you're checking the watch and it's like, oh, is it this turn or is it the next turn? And some fella stopped and he says, yeah, you're going the right way. I was like, how the fuck do you know? And he goes, oh, I'm following your tracker. Do you know? But he was on my the Instagram page.
Class.
Yeah, so it's that kind of stuff where people will come out on the road. And
there's a sense of community to it too, isn't there?
There is. There really is. Since I've set it up, the response has been brilliant.
Yeah, I'm delighted to hear that.
It is absolutely class, yeah. People are amazing. People come really good when you're doing something good as well, you know. And it's always for a charity. I do everything for the Alzheimer's Centre in Navan, so there's always a good response.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I think it's important as well to see, because I think I said this to you the last time as well. I think young people coming up, they see Americans do these wonderful things, and they see English people, and they might even see Irish people, but they're not from their town, and it all seems a little bit kind of too far away, out of reach almost.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, geez, your man who owns the bike shop that's down the road from me, he's doing all this mad shit, and it just brings things closer. It brings things within reach, like.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, it's good.
On the training then for this particular one, the one that your next one and your previous one, say, what's the name of it again? It's not Man and Head to Mizzen Point. It's
the Ireland Way.
The Ireland Way. Okay, so I've often wondered, like, what's the training for something like that?
Yeah, so I was training for trainings all over the place, because I've been training to do Race Across America solo for the last 2 years.
Okay, so that's a cycle coast to coast that you've done before as part of a two-man team.
As a two-man, yeah. So it's 5,000 kilometres in 10 days.
Lovely.
22 hours a day on the bike.
So sorry, 5,000 kilometres in 10 days?
Yeah.
500 kilometres a day?
Yeah.
Is it that, or is it, 7 one day and 3 another day?
Well, you just keep going, like, you cycle 22 hours a day, and then that's our kind of plan, is then into bed for 2 hours and go again. So whatever you cover, you cover.
Okay.
But the Irish record is like 11 days and 2 hours, I think. So I'd like to just try and break the 11 days.
Okay.
And take that, yeah.
And sorry to chop and change, but you mentioned before that the Ireland's way record was it
15
15 and you wanted to do it in 9. What made you think that you could shave such a proportion off it?
Because I've built up these events over the last few years, like I can't train the way a lot of others can. I've 2 babies, I've 2 jobs. I just don't get the recovery in, so I'll never have the speed of the top athletes. I just won't.
And what do they have over you?
No kids.
No, but what they've no kids, but that's not, having kids doesn't slow you down. Not having the time to rest or train might slow you down.
Yeah. So the recovery, like.
So it's recovery, though, is it?
But it's all about recovery. Like I train as much or more than an Olympian, but they nap during the day, have all their food laid out for them, and have full night's sleeps. You know, so I know myself, I can't get to that next level. Because my kids don't sleep. You know, you can never get a proper night's sleep, and then I'm up at 4 a.m. to go training, and then in work for 10 hours. You know, I can't get to that next level. I know I can't. But if I go up against a top runner or cyclist or athlete or whatever, and we say, right, this is going to take a month, I'd fancy my chances a lot more than this race is going to take 24 hours.
Yes.
I can go further than most, I think.
And is that a physical thing or a mental thing or both?
Oh, mental.
Okay.
Yeah. The body of Hans Moleman now, like, it's all in the head.
The body hands on?
Hans Moleman.
They do.
Yeah, no, it's all mental. Yeah, mentally strong.
And how do you train that?
So Ram keeps getting postponed because of this COVID bollocks. So I was training then for the Montaigne spine race. So it's meant to be the toughest foot race on earth, so they say. It's 438 kilometres non-stop in the snow in the Pennine mountain ranges, but along the spine of it, so you're up the top the whole way. I think in 5 days would be the plan.
Now, when I hear something like that, what I have in my mind's eye is YouTube videos of lads running along with like a fucking 400 foot drop one side and a 400 foot drop the other side.
I think there is a bit of that because they say like there's a few of them that you have to watch out for abandoned mine shafts and stuff. It wouldn't be such like the kind of the sky running stuff where it's ridges.
Yes.
But it's always fucking knee deep in snow. 20 kg in your bag, self-supported, carrying your tent if you want. So my plan would be there's 4 checkpoints where you'd have fresh clothing and gear in a hut or a town hall or whatever. So my plan would be not to sleep until I get to those places.
Okay.
So I'd like to think I could probably do it in 5 days and maybe 2 hours sleep in the 5 days, 3 hours sleep in the 5 days.
Okay. And that, so if anybody out there wants to run a 5k or do a triathlon or whatever, they can just do the training and they can bring themselves up to a level to do it.
Yeah.
But how do you train if it's all mental? Are you just born with your mentality?
No, or how do you train mental?
Well, if it's all about being, if it like I asked you, is it, mental or physical or both, and you said, well, it's basically all mental.
Yeah, well, because you have to be a certain level of fitness.
Oh, but of course.
Yeah, but like I've raced against lads that are far better, like, some of the top runners in the country, but they DNF'd a couple of races that I didn't.
Yeah, did not finish being DNF.
They didn't. They didn't. Maybe didn't have it in. I don't know. Like the Kerryway Ultra, like I know a few lads that, jeez, I wouldn't get near them, but they didn't finish it and I did. I tore my hip flexor, it was hanging off the bone. I had 50k left, but I knew I could walk it, and I walked it with 5 hours to spare. So I want to go back down this year and do it right. But like,
because it wasn't good enough.
No. I want to back and run the whole thing, but so they're physically gifted, but they've they didn't finish. Like, you know, they didn't have it in them to finish.
Yeah, they physically did.
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
They were well capable of physically
Oh God,
doing
yeah, and
it.
miles ahead, but not mentally. So, but how do you train mental? I don't know. I think my thing has just been a gradual increase of stupidity and distance, and you just become fit by training. Like, and harping on the same thing, but it's consistency. Like, if you're constantly, like, I've managed to avoid being injured for 6-7 years since I started all this, and that's where it's built up to, you know. And then Bernard, that was on last week, he's my coach, so he just changes you go a little bit longer in your training, or you go for the hills. So the training is still the same. That's where I was training for the spine race, which is 438k, and then when that was cancelled, I said, well, fuck this, I'm not wasting this training. So I decided to try and run 1000k. So the distance is no different. I can only train a certain amount.
Yeah, whether it's for 400 or 800.
Yeah. But it's in the head whether you think then you can finish it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, is there, like, I'm not in the ultra marathon elite sports people loop, but you are more than I am. But what I'm curious to know is, there in that world, like I know that there are running coaches that do. My understanding of them is they do a lot more, or they're not even running coaches, but there are sports psychologists, say, and their job, they're not, their expertise isn't in developing your quads or your hamstrings, or making sure you have the right amount of macros or micros or fucking protein or water intake. Like, leave all that to the likes of Bernard. But have you any interest, or have you ever gone to a sports psychologist before, say, or somebody who would help you with the mental aspect of it?
No, I haven't gone to one.
That is a thing, though, in that world.
Is, God,
yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah. It is, yeah. And people say to train your mind, but I'd like to think I'm strong enough mentally to not that I just haven't gone. I haven't gone to one. But when I was doing Race Around Ireland, so it was 2,200 kilometers, 5 days. I slept for 2.5 hours in the 5 days. Schirmer's neck that we spoke of last time, all the muscles stop working in your neck, chin is stuck to your chest, can't see where you're going, lost all feeling in my hands and feet. It was great crack, it was lovely. But I had I didn't think I could do it. I genuinely didn't think I could do it. But I said to myself, if I can't do that, well then you may forget about RAM. So that's why I was doing it. But Tony, our friend Tony, he's a psychologist. But he was in college with a lad in Sligo, John McGinty, and he said, I'll give him a shout, see would he do something for you. And I said, oh God, right. And I, probably the week leading up to it, I was sick to me. I couldn't, nobody could talk to me, I was just terrified that this is it, I'm going to be found out, I'm going to get 2 days into this race, and, you know, everyone will be fucking laughing, and you're going to fail, and then nobody will come to your shop, and nobody will come to your physio clinic, and you're useless. And he just rang me, and within, I think, 20 minutes, and it was the way I should have thought about this, but he was kind of saying, you know, when it all starts to fall apart, green thoughts, only green thoughts, no red thoughts. Green is good, red is bad. But he had said, I honestly can't remember, so I'm not even going to waste trying to think of it, but he said something to me, and it was just like a bubble just burst, and everything just relaxed. I figure out what he said, but
you're keeping it yourself, you
no,
prick.
I can't. I honestly can't. I'll text you.
Your competitive advantage.
Yeah, but and that was it. I think I came in after the phone, and Lauren was like, "What did he say to you?" And everything had changed, and I was just ready, and that was it. Went out and did far better than I thought, and a lot better than most thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were saying there that and I'm familiar with that rumination of negative thoughts, that, you know, what will people say, what will people think,
and I used it.
As fuel, say.
Yeah, but when things were falling apart and I was getting a bit antsy, it was just because he was shouting down the phone at me before I left. I rang him just before the start of it as well then, and he was like, just fucking green thoughts. And every time something was going wrong, that was in my ear, and things just fizzled and calmed, and off we went for another fucking 10 hours of torture.
Yeah, because
but it really worked, like, yeah.
Well, it's mad though, because anything that's mental, you can easily kind of get rid of it because you've put it there in the first place.
Yeah,
do you know that kind of way? Like
Yeah.
you can't talk yourself out of not having trained enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But I haven't gone to anyone since him, because what he did, I've never doubted myself since.
Yeah. Well, if you use the analogy of your knee or your elbow, if you go to a physio and they basically fix it, for want of a better term, you don't really feel the need to go and get it checked out if it's working.
Yeah. And things have slowly built and got me up. But when I decided like to do the double Everest, it was 250 reps. The most I ever done on fucking Tara was 18. You know, but I knew I could do it.
But there's something I love about that though. Like for you, if I have this right, it can't be within reach. It has to be a little bit. Just no, I can't get there yet. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't do things that I know anyone personally who has done them before me.
Okay, that's another level to it.
Yeah, I like being the first.
Yeah, well, there's not. What I love about being the first is no one can take that away from you.
Yeah. So I'm double Everest-ing Crowpatrick, running now. In the next couple of months.
In your bare feet.
Provided the knee, except my granny. Provided the knee holds up. So I have Ireland's first ever double by bike, and I'll hopefully have Ireland's first ever double on foot. And I think it'd be the world's first double.
Oh, lovely.
Champ.
Double.
Yeah. Yeah. So I suppose the mental side of it then, unless you do them, it's very hard to explain. But people kind of say, like, so on Ireland's Way, like, I was running 17 hours. The plan was to kind of run 17, 18 hours a day. And people were like, how the fuck can you do that? But like, day one was Frightened Rabbit in my ear, music for 4 hours, do you know, David Gray for 3 hours. It's like, why wouldn't you want to do it? Do you know, the pain is inevitable. I kind of endure that, but you're getting away from everything. And you're getting to listen to your music or listen to your podcasts. Sun will rise, sun will set. You're either in work or you're out doing something.
Yeah, but you could be on a couch.
Yeah, but like
smoking joints and eating biscuits.
Well, since my injury, newfound love of biscuits. That is. Yeah, I know, but that's not living. Speaking
of drugs, does performance enhancing drugs come into it?
For me?
Well, yeah, for you in the sport generally.
No,
would you view that as cheating?
As in the legal stuff?
Well, either or.
But protein.
Well, no. I suppose concentrating on the illegal stuff, because, like, it's a weird one.
You're yourself stuff for that. Like, God no, I have never and would never. I don't get how you could come on the likes of here talking about stuff you've done if you've been fucking off your banger, and that none of you was put into doing it, do you know?
Well, I suppose the excuse that people give is that kind of everyone's doing it. It's normal.
Maybe in professional sport, but not this crack.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it much of a component of it? You're probably out of that loop, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you'd. I don't know.
Will you?
Like, do you think people are doing an Everest off the banger?
Well, I don't know if they're off their.
Just to be
it won't be off their banger though. But I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, 100% people are definitely taking drugs to get them to the top of Everest and back. 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, I honestly never crossed my mind. Not in the ultra stuff. I suppose because the ultra is relatively new, and it's so fucking hard anyway. It's a really tight-knit community.
But you're constantly reaching, and you want something that's further away.
Yeah, but it's my head that does that. Not like if I so race across America 5,000 kilometers. Like, would drugs get me there 12 hours quicker maybe.
Yes, but
it
if
wouldn't
you...
it wouldn't make it any easier.
Yes.
Or on the head, or make me happier.
But you're pushing all the time, so it's 5,000 this month and it's 7,000 next month, and you're going, like, the whole, presumably the name chasing breaking is you're actively looking for your breaking point.
Yeah.
But presumably you're going to meet your, not even your physical limits, but the human being's physical limits.
So then I have to take drugs to get over it.
Well, I could imagine that's how somebody would end up taking performance enhancing drugs, because they can't get past a certain point themselves, maybe. Now, this isn't I'm not advocating it by any stretch of the imagination.
I know, but
I've never taken them myself.
I've genuinely never gave it a second thought.
Yeah.
But like, say, so Ireland's way 1,000 kilometres, and so the plan was 110k a day. So when it all falls apart, 2 days left, I'll come in 10 or 11 days. So I'd be a day ahead of myself. But if I was taking EPO, would I got there in 8.5 days? But surely you're still in bits. You're still sore. You're still bloodied and
Oh, I'd imagine
fall
so,
into bog
yeah.
holes with EPO. You might just get there a bit quicker. But how could you sit down in a podcast and talk about how great you are?
Yeah, look,
Knowing that fucking wasn't you.
Yeah, it boggles the mind. I don't get it personally, but I can see how it has become normalised. Do you know that kind of way? And I can see how pervasive it is in most sports.
Like even like cycling getting a bad rap, but like there's masters racing. I think it's over 40s, maybe over 50s. I think it's over 40s. And like one of them was done for taking EPO last year in Kildare or Dublin. Like, it's just a Tuesday night. Like, you're not going to get sponsorship or there's no prize money. But he was taking drugs to try and.
But would he that guy? And again, I know absolutely nothing about that particular instance. But was that guy not going to be able to compete at that level if he wasn't taking it?
I know, but why would you want to compete?
Fuck
That's
knows.
like you're 50 years of age taking fucking drugs.
But you know yourself,
Go on a Tuesday with lads.
Yeah, but people are all up in their minds as well, like, do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
And like, no different than you are, or I am, or any of us is. Like, you're all up in your mind about wanting to do this thing, and once it's done, it not being good enough, and going on to the next thing.
But I need to deal with that. It's not. I know it's not true. Do you know? 99.9% of the world won't do RAM or Ireland's Way or Double Everest. I need to fix that in my head, that it was too easy, because it wasn't fucking easy.
But is there an element of, you know, I am a lowly worm? Do you know that kind of way? Like, nothing I do is good enough.
Yeah.
And like, I can see.
Now, is this in sport or in Graham?
Ah, yeah, in Graham, say.
Yeah.
That you're, you know, just not good enough. I've spoken about before in the solo the idea of imposter syndrome. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. And I suppose I'm never. Not that I'm never happy. I'm never satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good thing I never get into drugs. Hell of a drug.
What are you looking for, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Meaning of life.
But it's interesting. It's interesting that you don't know. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah, like when you're doing these events and everything you've trained for and all the effort you've put in, and it all starts to slip away from you during it, and you're strong enough to not listen to that Graham but listen to this Graham and pull it back. Like, you're never more alive than, for me anyway, there's never anything as amazing or euphoric as when you're fucking losing everything. It's all gone, everyone's going to, and then you manage to pull it back and you finish it, like, you know, like the Shermer's neck. Like, I think I was the 8th or 9th person solo to get it on Race from Ireland. I was the only one to ever finish it.
Yes.
Do you know? So why was I able to do it and they weren't? I had 1,000 kilometres left. I was only gone beyond halfway when it happened. I had to be bungee corded from my chest to the helmet, and like I'm still fucked. I still can't hold my head up after a long day. I still can't lift my head off the pillow properly.
From that Shermer's neck?
Yeah, still have numbness in my hands. So Race Across America will be the one to finish the cycling for me, definitely. I've already decided that, or it's decided for me that if I finish Ram, and I have to finish Ram, because I'm not going back, because I won't be able to go back.
And why do you say you won't be able to? Through just
The
wear
neck
and tear
won't-
in the body?
Oh,
like?
it'll be completely gone
Okay.
by that stage, yeah.
And is there not a fear that you'll be going around with a brush handle up your back for the rest of your life kind of thing?
I know, yeah. But I think about this. I think about this all the time. All the time. Is the risk worth the reward? But it is. At this moment in my life, it is. Yeah. And people say, "Oh, but you have kids and you won't be able to play with the kids." And sure, can't I hire a fucking Manny or no? It is. Yeah. It's what I want to do, and I'm going to, because I'll be long enough not able to do it.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt.
I don't know how much longer I can do it.
Yeah.
This level of stuff.
But it's gas because I get that kind of shit from people when I tell them I run 5k every day. People would be, worried about my knees and worried about this and worried about that, and
can't run the roads. I just, look, it's the why. I don't know. And I've been asked on loads of podcasts, and everyone always asks why. And then over Christmas, I think it was, I was down the pub with my dad, and he asked me why. And I think for the first time I was ever able to properly explain it, I can't fucking remember what I told him. But that's the God's honest truth, and he doesn't remember either.
Hilarious.
Yeah, should have recorded it. But be long enough not able to do it, and I'd like to think that when I can't do it, whether it be physical or whether it be illness or whether I'm fucking on my way out of this earth, whatever, that I can say to myself, you've done enough, or you couldn't have done more. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's as close to Gandhi as I'm going to get. That's what does drive me on. It does. It really does. I'd love for somebody to say something happened to me in 10, 20 years time, and you presented my kids with this podcast, or somebody to say, do you know your dad did this and this, and he's the only person to do this and this. I think that's...
Is there a part, now I might be fucking way off here, but is there a part of dying easy? So the idea, what I mean by dying easy is when you're on your deathbed, you can just kind of go, do you know what?
But that's what I was kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always had this... fucking Lauren will be given out, everyone will be given out. But, so the Mackens and the Duns, so my granny and granddad on my dad's side, they were all carriers of two different cancer genes. So I have to go and get tested on mine, and hopefully I don't have it, but everyone in my family gets it. Everyone. I think there's one uncle out of every granduncle, grandaunt, uncle and aunt that hasn't got it.
Sorry, that gets a specific type of cancer, or just cancer generally?
It's prostate for men and breast for women.
Okay.
Every one of them has had it. Dad had it 2 years ago. His brother had it the year before him. His sister had it 2 years ago. His younger sister Frida died from it last year. And the youngest lad, Dennis, he's going to get it in the next year or two, so he has to wait. I've always had it in my head, and I don't want it in my head, and people say, oh, that's fucking stupid. I know it's stupid, but I've always just had a feeling, or more than a feeling, that I'll go young enough. And I know this is fucking way too deep for what's meant to be a sport podcast.
Not at all. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be anything.
For me, but
it's not meant to be anything, man.
I've always, and I hope, Jesus, and I love being right. I love being right, but I hope to fuck I'm wrong. Of course I do. But I've always just had it in my head from when I was a teenager that I'll be gone early enough.
But what's early enough? Because early enough to some people might be 70.
I've always kind of bounced around kind of 55.
Fuck, okay.
Yeah. Again, and people will be listening to this going, fucking idiot, you don't know that. So whatever's going on, it's not even this part of my life, because it's going on, these events are going on so long, but I want to get to that. What you just said, that is exactly why I do it. I didn't think I was going to bring it up today, but yeah, I want to get to that point where if everything else has failed and I'm on the way out, that I just go,
I did enough.
Yeah.
I've been enough.
Yeah. I've built a beautiful big house that'll have my kids sorted, no bother at all. I've a couple of good businesses. I've another that I'm hoping to open up that'll hopefully be a legacy business even, you know. But I'd like to get to, whenever it does happen, that I've done all I can, not enough, that I couldn't have squeezed in anymore. I've travelled the world, you know, that's, yeah. I'd like to get to the point where maybe the kids would kind of say in years that, jeez, fucking hell, he was able to do what nobody else was able to do.
And do you think that you'll ever, like, is it possible, do you think, for you to enjoy that feeling 10 years before you die?
The feeling of
kind of knowing you've done enough.
No, because I've 10 years to do more.
But again, what I'm trying to get at here is, I suppose, I think the typical psychologist's view on that would be that, not that I agree with it by any stretch of the imagination, but I think the typical psychologist's view of that is that you're not essentially enjoying your life. You're not living in the present moment.
Like I don't. My life isn't. I don't run my life around, oh fuck, I'm going to get to 55 and be gone. Yeah. Not at all. As I said, I hope it'll be 95, but I want to keep pushing as long as I can do it physically, or my body gives it, one or the other.
Yeah. Or even just the will.
Yeah, but it's nothing to do with, I'm not like, oh, I'm going to be in the moment with this cup of coffee because it could be my 7,000th last cup of coffee. I don't think like that at all, no.
Yeah.
No, death doesn't come into it at all.
But there's and I don't know if I'm hitting the nail right in the head here, but there's an element of constantly kind of thinking about the end point as opposed to enjoying the journey.
But what is the end point of my races though? Like, how long can I do it, or how long do I want to do it? I don't know if I want to be able to do these things in 5 years' time. I really don't. But I have two things on my, I call them my swan song, is running the Appalachian Trail. So it's a 5,000k run in the mountains, and then I want to cycle from the tip of Alaska to the bottom of Patagonia. I think it's 44,000 kilometers or something.
Do that in a fortnight or so, would you?
Yeah, bang. I'll take drugs for that. But I've said they're my two kind of swan songs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting that you would have that, like a swan song.
Yeah, two of them, and then that'd be it. Yeah.
That's good. There's something I really like about that.
But then, like, am I gonna say, right, I'll do that for my 50th and get smacked by a bus? You know, not that I'm gonna run out and do it next year, but it is being worked on to be done now. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. It's all building. You know, you just gradually build to these things.
And in relation to building them, because a lot of these things that, like, you can't, it's not as if you can do one weekend and then do the other the next weekend. So there's, generally speaking, how much time is in between these epic fucking adventures?
COVID has really fucked everything up time wise, because I'm trying to cram everything in now. So I'll have the Double Everest, Ireland's Way, the Kerryway Ultra, the Montaigne Spine Race, and pack all that in by January, so then I can get back on the bike and just train for 6 months for Race Across America then.
Okay.
Do you know? Yeah.
And because I would have thought there would have been at least a couple of months in between doing different things, and if you have so much to do that you're not talking months, you're talking years, and you're not getting younger. Do you know? Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah. No, I'm still younger than most endurance athletes. I think it's 39 to 46 or something. Or
is when you're deemed to peak, say.
Kinda, yeah. So I'm way off that.
Okay. And presumably that kind of drops a year every 2 years, does it? Like, I would imagine endurance runners in 40 years' time will be in their early 30s.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've no idea either. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I really don't know. But yeah, it's all about recovery then after to go again. Bernard always has that spot on. You know?
The recovery end of things. Well, I remember hearing, I don't know who I heard it from, it could have been Bernard, but the idea is that the only thing that separates an amateur and a professional is rest for the most part.
But that's, I kind of said it earlier on, I remember about 3 years ago, and double Olympic gold medalist Alistair Brownlee put up his training plan, and I was doing the exact same. But I had a
Right.
baby, you know.
Yes.
And he was napping, and he had his food delivered, and so that, like, you know, I'm running out the door trying to get training and then having to cut it short to come back to get to work. That's the difference. It's recovery, because you gain your fitness in recovery. Like,
Yes.
and if you don't have it, then you get injured. Simple as that.
It's gas, because I remember hearing, who was it, Eddie Hall. Do you know Eddie Hall, the strongman?
Yeah.
Eddie Hall and
Did
your
they
man.
have a box?
Not yet. No, I
No.
think it's September this year in
That's gonna be
Vegas.
a fucking
Him and Thor
Awful
Bjornsson
fight,
or something.
But I can't wait to see it.
I know, you and me both, man. Front row centre. I don't care what the pay-per-view is. It's $2,000. Fuck it. But I remember your man Eddie
Just
Hall.
be like bear wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eddie Hall and your man Thor were kind of not shouting abuse at each other, but they were doing the whole hype thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And Eddie Hall turns around, your man Thor, and said, "Oh, I'm going to beat you," whatever. And Eddie Hall turns around and he goes, "I'm going to train you, I'm going to lift you, I'm going to out-eat you, and I'm going to outsleep you." But he was right. Like, I mean, you have to out-rest your opponent. Like, you know, kind of, I'm going to rest 10 times more than you. Like,
well, that's where like when you get into these things, the longer stuff, like there's a big debate over, like, say, Ram, should I go balls out for 15 hours and sleep for 9, or do I just go as best I can for 22 hours?
yes.
So I really don't know what way to go for. I don't. Still don't. The crew want me to go longer because they all read the same fucking book. I'm not reading the book. But yeah, don't know.
How much of that do you have to take into consideration? Like, like you're, for want of a better term, you're the star, you're the guy that's doing the thing, you're the talent. But, you've a crew of God knows so many other people, and you can't just ignore what they say, especially if what they're saying is kind of in unison, if they're all in agreement.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I always have a thing that when I start something, everything's out of my hands. Ignore what I say, and I'll just, the crew take control.
Okay, so you have to make your piece ahead of time that the crew know better than you, basically.
Yeah, but I have, like, they're the best. Like, they're just fucking brilliant crew. They do everything with me. They've been through every race, every event. They know me inside out. They know when to talk to me, when not to talk to me. When to listen to me, when not to listen to me. And yeah, but I've always just handed it over to them. Yeah.
I'd say that's a good or great load off.
Me?
Well, yeah, you as you're doing the race.
Because it's trust in them, yeah.
Yeah, oh no,
Yeah,
that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah, like
Because
there's one famous kind of ultra cyclist, and he has a different crew every year because he abuses the shit out of them every year.
yeah,
Do you know? And just like, these lads have given up half their annual leave, do you know, to come and help you do something, like, do you know, so we always have a good session. Pints and food are always on me after, and they don't put their hands in their pockets during the events as well. It's the least you can do for them, like, do you know.
Yeah.
But then the most you can do for them, or the least you can do for them, is finish the fucking thing. You know, which we've always done. Bar Ireland's way, but that was out of my hands. But yeah, it's great that I can just roll off the start and just know that they'll always have everything covered.
yeah, because you see a similar thing with fighters. There are fighters who kind of gym hop. Do you know, kind of way they have a different coach every other year, or
yeah, so they think that
a better gym.
It's their coaches doing that they're not winning as opposed to them.
Yes.
And they think they can get, instead of bringing in others into your own gym that you trust.
Yeah, and making your gym better.
Yeah.
Having your gym grow with you.
Yeah.
And would that be rare in, like, your man who has a different crew every year? That presumably that's the exception. Most people at that level would have their crew a while, would they, or would they? Or are there crews to hire?
No. Most of them would be scrambling to get a crew, like.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd be begging neighbours and people you don't know and everything. Yeah. But I'd be very wary of bringing in somebody I didn't know. Definitely.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Even just the uncertainty.
Yeah.
And again, it comes back to what you're saying about the trust. Like, you need to be able to pull off the start line or whatever it is, and not have that concern that your man is kind of going to do his job or whatever it is.
Yeah. And then I suppose the familiarity of having them, they just know your ins and outs. They, like, a simple quiet word from Andy or Brendan, fucking get you banging out your fastest 100k, no, but you know, it's as opposed to like a stranger that might, you know, you wouldn't really want to be talking to them at all.
Oh yeah, like even your nearest and dearest can be fucking useless around you at
But
times.
that's the other side. A lot of lads bring their other halves.
Big mistake.
Or a lot of girls bring their other halves. Now Lauren crewed for me before. You know, she kicked me out of the van plenty of times, told me to shut up. So that was fine. But things have gone next level a long time since that, and I wouldn't like her to see the suffering and stuff that can go wrong.
Yes,
I would like her to put her through it. But I've often seen lads that now I say lads just because some of the races I've done with friends and their partners were crewing for them, and when things got really, really tough, the partner said, "You've done great. Why, Joe? Just you'll do yourself more damage if you can." And then that's all they want to hear. It's like, "Oh no, you're fucking right. No, you're dead right, Jay. Come on, let's go." You know, it's the last thing you want. You want somebody who's just going to ignore everything you tell them and just keep pushing you down the road.
No, absolutely. Yeah, like emotion can get
gotcha.
in the way.
Yeah.
Like, do you know, like, I know,
yeah.
And especially when it's people that, you know, love you and have to live with you, they're the last people in the way that you want anywhere near you when you're doing something like that.
When it's all falling apart, yeah.
Like you wouldn't bring your missus to war with you. Do you know that kind of way? Like,
if we're outnumbered. Yeah.
On the dieting end of things, like what's that like? Like getting in the right amount of what you need. I mean, have you, in training for these mad long fucking epic trail runs and cycles or whatever it is, like are you putting in 10,000 calories a day or something stupid?
Trying,
or
yeah.
You're really wedging it in.
Yeah.
Is it tough, like between, because again you've got, you know, the couple of businesses and whatever else and your kids.
Like nutrition, I work with Joanne in Navan in Life Force Nutrition, and the nutrition during the week I find hard. Like I just don't have time, and you see these people on fucking Instagram, they're all prepping and, you know, I'm not that person. I am an organised person, but not yet. The training diet is, I find, hard to do. Racing diet, it's mostly liquid, so it's grand.
So racing diet is what you're eating as you're racing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, little bottles of Ensure that they have in nursing homes.
What's that? Just pure calories? Is it liquid calories?
Yeah.
Is that all sugar, or is there fat in it, or?
The way, I don't know actually. It tastes like arse. But it's great stuff. It's only a tiny bottle, 300 calories. Neck it and keep going. So when I'm doing the biking, especially the bike racing and the runs as well, I just on the bike throw it back into the car and keep going. So there's no stopping at all. But I was using that mass gainer for Ireland's Way. I think it's 1,400 calories a serve.
Fuck.
It's mental stuff. So, but I'd never used it before. So we were only using half a scoop, but I was still getting 700 calories into me in just a little tiny shake. And I didn't have there was no kind of side effects on it. So that was brilliant. So just any time I'd meet Andy, every 3 hours or whatever, you just neck one of those and go again.
And that's during the race.
Yeah.
You presumably wouldn't want to be consuming anything during the race that you're not going to used to consuming.
Yeah, that's to say nothing new on race day, but thankfully now I'd have a very good stomach. Now people laugh because I get sick every event I do, but that's just from too much fluid and something has to come up every event I do.
And can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, is that, you know, nerves before it starts or during it or at the end?
I remember doing the double Everest and I think for about five reps I was getting sick on myself, but kind of little ones, until I got off the bike. I asked all the people that were cycling with me to go on up to the top and leave me be for a couple of minutes, and I just emptied myself on the Tara. But it's not a sickness thing. Like it's not oh, you shouldn't have drank that, you've never tried it before, it hasn't agreed with you.
Well, what is it then?
It's just fluid, just packing, just too much fluid, I suppose.
Trying to stay hydrated, or
yeah. Like the first one on Race Across America 2017 got to 49.5 degrees in Death Valley. The Phoenix airport was shut, the planes couldn't take off and land.
Yeah, you'd fry an egg in a carbonic.
We were cycling by it, and I'm just fucking guzzling everything, just in sheer panic, trying to get it. And then night came, and next thing I just kind of went, whoa. I was like, oh jeez, no, I'm grand, and just everywhere, all over my bike, all over me. Jumped off the bike, turned to the lads in the car, and just all over the car. And I mean projectile, fucking 10 foot stuff. But it was just getting too much stuff in, too much fluid. I don't know why. It's like Tony Webster used to get sick every night we went drinking pints. Do you remember?
I do.
Every single night for 6 years. And he was doing it for 4 years before we knew, and then he told us, and then he'd just be back in a minute, lads. Are you going to get sick? Yeah. And he'd go, and he'd get sick, and he'd come back, and he'd be grand. but trying new stuff, I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
Yeah, you'd have an iron stomach. I'm kind of something similar. Yeah.
And then the longer stuff, then like you get McDonald's or Supermax along the way is always nice.
And it's funny because on one hand, like when you're talking about taking 300 calories and a mouthful or whatever, that makes perfect sense to me. But what's your diet like in the days leading up to it? I mean, have you like you've a
carb plan?
So you've a training diet, and then you've a carb loading diet, and then you've the race diet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And what's the idea of the carb loading diet? Is it to put on fat?
No, it's
that you burn off during the race,
to build reserves. That if something goes wrong, you can't stomach anything, that you have reserves built in. Okay. Because it did on the race Donegal one time. I was really sick. I think for the first 13 hours, just couldn't stop. It was only when I hit the marathon at the end I stopped getting sick, and I couldn't consume anything. It was a 250k race. It was 80k running. I couldn't get any calories into me, nothing. But I finished because of the carb load. So I always carb load properly since that. Okay. Yeah. And that's down to Bernard again, is it? Does he handle all your nutrition? Or? Well, no, Life Force Nutrition. And sorry, of course. It comes in now, because it's a full-time fucking thing now. But Bernard's wife Aoife studied nutrition. She's a primary school teacher, but she studied nutrition, so she used to help out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then on Bernard's end of things, so the training, do you do much weight training? I do, yeah. And what that's like? See, we do it in the off season and building up to events. There'll be more. And then in the weeks coming up to it, then you'd claw it right back to just doing what it is that you're going to be doing, whether it's running or cycling or swimming. We'd still have 1 or 2 gym sessions, be just lighter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but like you do your gym work, you don't get injured. It's like simple as that, and it is that simple. And is that what's lacking in people who do get injured? Typically, God, yeah. Really, yeah. Just don't strength train, and that's from a physio side. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I do forget, you're a qualified physiotherapist yourself. So it's constant, just run, and then get injured, But none of them are ever doing strength work. And I think, I often think back to before I started any of this, I didn't even own a bike. I was in the gym 7 days a week for probably 2 years in Jackie Skelly's, just eating weights out of it. I don't know, just to fucking look good in a t-shirt, drinking pints really. And I think that has stood to me since, because I don't get those. I always get niggles and stuff, but I haven't had this is the first time in years I've not been able to do it. Like I couldn't walk, I couldn't go up and down the stairs, never mind. Like sometimes you get a running niggle, I can cycle. If the hands are at me on the bike, I can do a bit of running or gym work. I couldn't do anything. And what was that like mentally? Fucking hit me harder than I thought. Yeah, I thought I'd be alright, and I was like, right, gym, let's go. And I was in the gym every day, and I was doing Bernard stuff, but I was doing my own stuff, and it wasn't working because I was pushing. So I met up with Bernard, went to his gym for a chat, and I took myself out of it completely. Took the physio head off, and then he was kind of saying a few bits, and I was like, not answering that, not getting involved. You tell me what to do. And he said, right. So we clawed it right back, and within 2 weeks, the knee pain was gone. Less than 2 weeks. Not even that the knee pain was gone, but that I could chance the bike. And I said, fuck it, just see. Get down the road, if it's sore, turn back, and it was grand. So sometimes you just remove yourself from it. But it was tough. 8-9 weeks, yeah.
I'd well believe it.
Drank a lot of whiskey.
I'm just thinking now your next big thing might be not to train for 2 months and see if you can do it.
Yeah. No, I wasn't able to do that.
But there's something...
it's not good. It's not good at all. You're conditioned to... to always be focused. And like, I like that focus. I like the discipline in daily life. I always said I'd love to have
gone to prison.
I always said I'd love to have done or tried out for the Army Ranger Wing.
Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah.
But like that, most people would be happy to join the army, but I'd have to see, could I do? They're the top of the top.
Oh, and I'd be the same. I'd have no interest in doing the normal
thing. I know a couple of lads in the army. It's like, and they're not going. And they're like, God, no, jeez, no, that train's fucking mad.
Yeah, I'd be more...
What are you in it for the pension? So we're never going to war, so what the fuck are you in it for? Yeah, you'd have to be first, get in, get sorted, and then, right, let me at the Ranger Wing. Just to see, could you do it? Not saying I could do it.
Oh, yeah, well, it's...
But you'd have to, but that's the type of people we are, I suppose.
Yeah.
So sitting around us, I got a lot of shit done around the house.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been polishing the tiles with the toothbrush, like.
Yeah. Jenna it was tough going.
And what do you think, to live with all this going on?
Look, I'm sure I'm not the jolly green giant that I always am.
Yeah, well, no more than anybody, but you think it's, like, how hard is it? Like, I mean, you're off, let's say you're off training for whatever amount of hours, you're gone at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's all that and things, but I mean, you could as easily be off drinking or partying with the lads or playing cards and being a bigger prick, like.
Yeah. Like doing this, you're trying to better yourself every day.
Yeah.
And you are trying to better. Same with you with your training, whether it be the running or the MMA, and it's always trying to get the best out of yourself, and that does then lead into business and other life.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
It really does, like.
Yeah. There's those sayings, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, it's very good.
So if you're...
But it's no coincidence that the best GA footballers of all time, none of them are fucking bums. They're all... now a lot of that comes to a lot of favours done, but like a lot of them have become very successful businessmen as well.
Yes.
Because it's that discipline.
I think you see that in sports.
In everything.
You really do, yeah.
So
you'd pick anybody who's achieved any kind of success in anything.
Yeah. I pick Ga because everyone else getting paid, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Ga lads are getting paid. But it does transfer across. There's nothing wrong with trying to, like, sometimes now the missus say, oh, you're obsessed with this and you're obsessed with that, but there's nothing fucking wrong with it. Trying to be the best of yourself every day.
Oh yeah, no, just you're preaching to the converted here big time.
Yeah.
And it's great too that like your kids are growing up witnessing all this.
Yeah, that's the big thing. The two of them are on their little bikes now. And,
class. Carbon fibre.
Yeah. They'd be messing, I'd be doing my stretches, they get down and do stretches. Silly stuff like that,
Yeah.
So that's
but
why
even hearing Daddy on the podcast, like, do you know
Yeah. Coming down to the start lines and finish lines, like they won't remember it, but then they'll see photos of it.
It's instilled in them too.
Yeah, so I hope I have a few more years left in the events, doing these kind of stuff that they will be older then to say, or to understand a bit more.
And to boast to their friends.
Boast their friends, and then go and do them faster than I ever did.
But it's cool though, because something that I love about that, like my kids are growing up with the idea of running into Navan and back.
Yeah.
Not being an event. It's just something that they can do.
Yeah.
Or just not even running into Navan and back, but just running out the gate, right? See you later, guys. I'm going for a
Yeah.
run. Good luck.
Yeah.
It's not when I grew up, I didn't really have that. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
And I think that my kids will do more than I did
Yeah.
on the back of it. Do you know that kind of
Yeah,
way?
yeah, no, absolutely. That's the idea. That's why we do it, though.
Because your legacy will be all your achievements that give you that kind of easy death, but it's also your kids as well and how they kind of turn out.
Yeah. Whether they'll go chasing their own breaking or chasing my records or times or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, or they don't have to do anything. It's up to them.
Is there an element of chasing breaking in the business, or the businesses? Do you find you have the same drive for the businesses, or are the businesses a necessary evil? Like, you're all about your training and you're all about the next event and the next event.
But
are you like that with the businesses?
Yeah, like we're heading for our third expansion in Spun, and this our third relocation and big expansion. So yeah, definitely in Spun. I have another business that I've been talking about for 3 years, and I won't mention here, but that's coming along really well at the minute. Now it's a big one. It takes an awful lot of funds. I don't know if we're going to get it, but we're going to try anyway. But yeah, that'll be the big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely transfers across. Yeah, yeah. But one of them has to go. So I'd say the physio will go.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting though, because again, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious.
All or nothing.
Is there other aspects of your life that's kind of obvious in? So you've got your training and you've got your businesses, and you're kind of pushing the boundaries with them all the time. Like, are you pushing the boundaries with your education, say, in relation to the businesses or your training, or maybe not education, but are you always reaching?
I think so. Yeah.
It's just part of you, like.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm envisaging a 90-year-old man who wants the fucking
Still going.
fastest 5k for a 90-year-old man.
Must Google that. There are actually world records for over 90s and over 80s on the track and stuff. But yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because the mindset is the same for anything, like.
Yeah, but then like, am I running to an end, like? Do you know, if I cycle the Americas and run across the world, run around the world, or whatever, and then I pack it in, will everything else follow? Do you know?
I don't know. I think it's okay to think.
Or will I just work? Like, do you know?
I think it's okay to think that some things will kind of fall by the wayside and other things will kind of rise.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of way?
Like, a load of people were saying, look, when I was injured, so look, you've done an immersive amount of stuff the last few years, just a couple of months, might be 4 months, might be 6 months. Thankfully it was only 2. Just give your body a rest. But I've never been so fucking sore and stiff and wheezy, and you know, everything has just gone to shite since I stopped. I always, like, even on recovery weeks, like, you'd have a recovery week and you're fucking stiff as it. You just want to be back training. You want to be back suffering and pushing and bursting yourself. So I don't know if I can stop. I don't know. But I'd like to think with the Swan songs that I would go, oh, fucking thank Jesus.
No, you won't. Not a fucking chance of it.
Just, I don't know, just drink pints for a few years.
But there's like, and
But see, I still drink pints, do you know?
Yeah.
That's the thing, I haven't sacrificed anything. I still love my pints. Do you know?
You're not getting too many of them these days.
No, fuck no.
Do you miss the pub?
Oh God, yeah.
Really, yeah.
That was my recovery was on a Tuesday, say after a load of training all weekend and during the week. On a Tuesday night I'd go down the end of the road, down to Crockett's, made 4 or 5 pints. The odd Tuesday would lead into 8 or 9, jukebox and pool. More often than that in the Monday club. But that would be I'd go in for 3 pints. I'd go to Tara for a run, go for 3 pints on the way home, and nothing would relax me like those 3 pints.
Yeah.
And not the pints at all. It's the second you sit in the stool, shoulders drop, and I can feel my legs tingle. when I'm there, and that's my recovery. That's when it starts to recover, to go again the next day.
Yeah, because
Genuine, every time, the most relaxed I'm ever is when I'm sitting in the pub.
yeah, and it's funny because
I love pints.
people will say that, you know, rest is so important, but I think a lot of people confuse rest
With lying down, fucking with
yes
compression boots
but
on,
like
sucking on a celery stick.
exactly.
Yeah.
But what you were saying there is, you know,
Is
when
whatever
you sit
relaxes
down,
you. Whether it's smoking a joint, fucking couple of pints, whatever. It's whatever shuts you off and shuts you down.
yeah, that's rest, not just being all tense and anxious and sitting still.
So I always get that with a few pints of Guinness. Creamy, beautiful, delicious Guinness. Hoping for sponsorship. So I really miss that. Really miss it.
On the sponsorship scene, as though you mentioned it, is that something that you're interested in? I know you kind of sponsor yourself to a degree with the shop, do you?
Yeah, so like Race Across America, the likes that, I needed sponsorship with, and I got great sponsorship. Some big companies came on board for that. Just have to fulfill it now, do it when COVID is finished. But they've been great, like, you know, they just said, look, it is what it is, when it's finished, or when all this is over and you get to do it, go and do it. But no, I pay for everything myself.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Now it is handy with the shop that I get cheaper stuff, cheaper gear. But it'd be lovely for some big company to come in and say, I'll sort you out. But then, as mad as the events I've done, and like, some have done double bikes, some have done double runs, some have done rams, some have done the spine. Nobody's done both. But it's probably still not big enough to get a full-time sponsor in. But then you have to sell yourself for that as well, and I can't do that. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah, it's funny because we kind of opened with that, the whole kind of self-promotional thing.
But like, no, fuck that.
But you see, you say fuck that, and I get that.
If somebody came in and said, yeah, but I couldn't put a video together of myself.
Highlight reel.
Fuck that, no.
You get someone else to do it though, could you? No. Graham, Macken,
I don't know.
I get the angle grinder and a bit of steel, and we fire up sparks and fucking all sorts.
Dungarees, no, nothing underneath. Steelworks.
What you're doing, does Red Bull get involved in any of those kind of events?
They do, yeah. Red Bull are great at that kind of stuff, yeah.
Because they'd be they're at the fore of my mind now.
I know, and like in my head, like sure, like say so there's we're making a documentary about the spine in January.
Who is? Sorry, it's news to me.
So Pat Byrne from Raven Photography, started out as a patient, lived in Trim, he moved down to Tip a few weeks back. So he's coming to make a documentary, warts and all, on the spine and Race Across America. So 5 months apart. The toughest foot race on earth and the toughest bike race on earth, 5 months apart. Nobody's ever done both, and certainly not 5 months away from each other. So the whole idea is the documentary is to see, is it possible to do the two?
Savage.
That close, yeah.
And how is that going to work now if he's living in Tip?
Well, like he'll come to England with me for the spine race, and he'll come to America with me for Ram.
So he's going to record it. He's not going to record the training per se.
No, he
it's
will
just
do.
the events.
He'll come up for a couple of them. Alright.
Okay. Yeah. He'll get whatever footage he needs and take it from there.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. So, but yes, like surely to approach a company with that, you'd get a good whack. Do you know, and then Ireland's way, like the events I do certainly, I think merit some company coming on board because it's great publicity for them. But nowadays, if you don't have 1 million followers, nobody's going to touch you, really.
But you see, that's where having the profile and building it.
Yeah, no. Putting up videos of you fucking, I don't know, with a tooth whitening kit like everyone else. That's all it is. That's all Instagram is now. It's lads with tooth whitening kits and no socks, and women with lips like a fucking baboon's arse.
And yoga pants.
Yeah, yoga pants. That's just shame. But they're all the same, like, you know. It's all. I don't know how they get the followers. Every story is the same.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's funny because again,
They hop on to talk about mental health, but they have their
tits.
hanging
You can
out.
say it. You can say
tits
it.
hanging out, or lads are talking about mental health, but they're promoting something behind them. Fucking, do you know? I couldn't be one of them.
Yeah, but you don't have to be either. I mean, surely there's a mold to be broken there. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
But it's funny though, because in order to, and again, maybe I stand to be corrected on this, but in order for me, let's say, to build my following, there's certain things that I kind of have to do, but I'm not promoting myself as much as I am the off the lead thing. Like, it's not the Fran and McKeown show, like, do you know, that kind of way. So it's I suppose slightly different. But then again, if I'm just wondering, could you, instead of promoting yourself, could you promote chasing breaking? Do you know that kind of way? So you could
separate myself from,
because you did that to a degree, didn't you? Because your social media is chasing breaking, as opposed to, you know, Graham Macken superstar.
Yeah, well, it is chasing breaking Graham Macken, but yeah, I could try and get rid of that. Yeah, separate. I know.
Just no interest. It's funny.
No. Like, thankfully work is going well, and I can cover these things myself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, it's just
maybe for the bigger ones, but like the bigger ones, what's bigger than what I'm doing? But maybe for the bigger ones, I'd have to find something. Yeah.
And is there anybody else doing these type of races that is being sponsored? And why are they being sponsored? Is it because they've got 1 million followers on Instagram?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Because there's loads. I know a few that are well sponsored, and their performances wouldn't merit the sponsorship. But it's just how they sell themselves.
They're playing the game a little bit more.
Yeah, but I don't resent them. I'm happy not playing I don't want to play the game. Do you know?
Yeah.
If the day comes where I said, right, give this, because I've been asked to do public speaking in a few of the multinationals and loads of schools and stuff. I just can't do it. We spoke about this last time as well. Still can't do it. But if it gets to a stage where I could do this event and that event because they've paid this amount of money, and I'd have to do it, you know.
Well, they all kind of feed into each other, because if you've done loads of corporate events and they're part of your kind of highlight reel, you know, it ups your profile.
Yeah,
you know,
you get more of them.
Well, yeah. Or do you need a social media manager, somebody that you can hand your nutrition to your one and your training to your man?
I know.
Is that another part of? Is it it's a necessary evil to a degree, or is it? Or are you as well off just ignoring the whole fucking thing and just getting on with it?
I know, but I do these again. I do them for me. I don't do it for sponsorship or money, or you know. I do them. The internal battle between the 2 Grahams. That's the only reason I do these things.
Who are the 2 Grahams?
The sound one.
I've met him.
And the sounder one. Just the one that's always telling you to stop and quit and you're useless, and the one that's telling you not to listen to it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Probably 3 Grahams, yeah.
It's interesting you say that though, because I don't think I've heard you say that before. And I've heard people talk about the voices. Do you know that kind of way? You know the negativity, but it's a somewhat original way of phrasing it. The 2 Grahams. Is that how you conceptualize it?
But it is, yeah. Because we start off every event. I say we because the 2 Grahams. You're not good enough for this. You won't be able to do it. So look, we'll give it a go. Yeah, Graham, we'll give it a go. And then start off with me, Graham. Everything's lovely and smelling flowers as you go and enjoying the scenery, and then Shadow Man Graham creeps in, and you're just waiting for him through every event to come in, tap you on the shoulder, tell you to pack it in, you're useless, you're shite, and it's all just self-doubt. That's what he is. But when you can pull away from him though, that's what I mean about those events where it's all falling apart and you can pull yourself back, when you can pull yourself back away from him.
And say fuck you back, Graham.
Yeah, they're the big moments.
Like, so chasing breaking, the name again in my mind's eye, chasing breaking is you're reaching for something, you're chasing after something that's kind of in front of you.
Yeah.
But in the context of there being 2 Grahams, as much as you're reaching for something, you're trying to get away from something as well, are you?
Yeah, but sure, we say we all say we're running from something, we just don't know what.
Do we?
Maybe it's just me.
You see, this is what I find fascinating. You think things are normal. You know the way everyone does 5,000 kilometre runs, Frano, and you're like, no.
I know, but it goes back to again that if I can do it, because in my head I'm still a fraud and an average Joe, one of the lads asked me a while back, and I said something about, I said, we're all running from something, and Lauren went, what are you running from? But I don't know. I thought we were all running from something.
I think we probably are all running from something, but I don't know if most people have ever thought about it a whole pile.
Yeah.
Like I know again in more in the psychological literature, there's an added bonus. So I'm struggling to fucking explain this, and I'll paraphrase it as best I can. But there's two circuits in your brain. There's loads of different circuits in your brain, but there's two ones that I'm going to focus on for a minute. And one is I think it's a fear circuit, which has you running away from stuff. So fuck a lion, and you run. Okay, that's a fear circuit. But there's an exploratory circuit, which is I wonder what that is over there,
right.
And it kind of draws you towards it. And ideally, you'll have both. You'll have something pushing you from behind and something pulling you forward.
Yeah.
So it's interesting just to hear you talk in the terms that you described it.
Yeah, like in the earlier events, you'd be dreading the other Graham showing up, because you weren't strong enough for you. I haven't, because of all the stuff I've done in the last, say, 2 years, I believe I can do anything now and I'm ready for anything. But so say on the Kerryway Ultra, I was loving the first 100k. After the 100k started to slow down a bit, but I knew I had loads of time to finish. Then kind of silly fall, hip flexor tore, and then boom, he just jumped out from a ditch.
Ta-da!
Yeah. And I was like, no, not today, fuck off, and that was it. He was gone, because I knew I could walk within the time, and I mean, probably the sorest I've ever been in an event. It was just, I couldn't lift my left leg. I couldn't lift it high enough over pebbles, and every time my toe clipped a pebble, it was just like fucking a hot poker. And this was for 15 hours, and I was yelping, like screaming. Some people were coming over asking, was he alright? But there was no, but there's nothing I could do about it. But that was by far the worst. But I knew I could walk it, so it was alright, But I was waiting for him for hours, but I was kind of waiting for him to get fucked. Well, before he's on your shoulder for hours,
Yeah.
Get out.
I know you're speaking kind of metaphorically, and I hope I don't blur this too much, but do the 2 Grahams converse?
Oh God, yeah. That's I said a few minutes ago. It's nearly 3 Grahams, because I'm the one, me sitting here. I'm the one in the middle.
Sorry,
looking
yes.
at these two, kind of going, jeez.
Leave me alone! Get out of my head!
You go get me a drink. Yeah, it's the angel and the devil, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because there's an old Indian proverb. I remember a past guest and friend of the show, Ivan McQuillan, has a painting of this on his wall.
Podcasts.
He's in here. He's in the hot seat on Tuesday.
Yeah, never taken drugs before. I've already been to Peru, but jeez, I'd love to take a trip to Peru.
To do a load of drugs?
No, not drugs, but the ayahuasca. Because I've listened to both of them twice. He's just brilliant. I've known him since we were kids, but part of me thinks if I did ayahuasca, that all this would be figured out. The 2 Grahams, the 3 Grahams, the chasing, I think I could see from a 4th Graham nearly of everything that's going on, and maybe all the problems would be solved and I wouldn't be running from or to anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or maybe I just have a good time and come back with scurvy, one or the other.
You're definitely not guaranteed a good time, that's for sure.
No.
But you that loves all the pain and suffering, there's plenty of that goes
myself,
a long way.
Yeah, his podcast, it's brilliant.
And what do you think? I don't know, I'm surprised to a degree to hear you say that.
But don't they say that ayahuasca was the gateway into the spiritual world?
Yes.
And I remember when my auntie was dying, I thought, jeez, if you could get her a bit of DMT or ayahuasca, would she see what's on the other side and go a
Easier.
bit easier. Yeah. And I wonder would... I don't know. I wonder
Well,
would it...
it's known to alleviate death anxiety.
Yeah.
It certainly is. But then again, there's it's a funny one. It's one that people miss. It's not so much the drugs influence. Well, it is like it is in a listen, but it's the experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know, like, in a way?
Yeah.
But it certainly does help alleviate death anxiety. Do you think you have death anxiety? Is that part of why you're always kind of chasing and you're always trying to do more? Is death anxiety a part of that?
I would have always been along the lines of when it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
But
that idea of squeezing in so much, like there's an obvious element of death anxiety there. I would think.
Yeah.
An easy argument to make, at least.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
And you don't have to go to Peru to do psychedelics.
No.
You don't have to go to Peru to do fucking ayahuasca, never mind psychedelics more generally. Is that something that you've thought about much? I presume it is if you've listened to
recently,
or twice.
Recently. No, I've never done a drug in my life.
Says the man who loves his pints.
Yeah, well, besides that.
I love that. I love that attitude.
Do you class it?
I love that. What's
Right,
your class?
Of course
it is.
I've never done illegal substances in my life.
Yeah, but I mean,
bar a bit of weed.
But an illegal substance is
I know.
drink
you know what
that's
I mean?
prohibited. Like.
That's for that's for one of your solo monologue arguments. But no, I've thought. Yeah, I have recently. Yeah. I've never feared death because I've never thought of death.
Right.
I just always pushed it into the back of my mind. And I think it's since I had kids. Because we don't have a marker to our demise. We don't. Like, you have your birthday or whatever. But when kids come, then you start knowing, because like, what's your mental age? Like, Joe, what they say when you die. Sure, I think I'm 22. Some of the lads think they're 19. Do you know?
Yeah, I'd be 59.
you were always ahead of us, but you're always growing up for your age. But I found since having the kids, it's like Harry's 4 now in July. So that's 4 years, like that in the blink of an eye. 4 years.
Yeah.
So how many of those 4-year blocks have I left? And then you start thinking, geez, I'm 37 now. So if I only got 10 of those left, fuck. So that's going to be, and it has started to creep in a lot more. Yeah.
I suppose to make you aware of your own mortality, I suppose.
Yeah, and it's kind of it has creeped in a lot more into me mind.
You know, it has me as well to a huge degree. I mean, I was never afraid of dying, and it's funny because I'm still not afraid of dying. But I'm afraid of the death anxiety that I have, if you could even call it that. It's not my death.
It's the finality of it.
No, not that. It's not me dying. It's my kid's dad dying. That's what kills me. Now maybe that's just because my dad died when I was that bit younger. But that's what would worry me more. Like if I got a cancer diagnosis and I was given 6 months, my knee-jerk, my immediate reaction would be the fucking kids. I wouldn't give a fuck about myself.
No, because you won't be around to deal with it. Yeah, no, of course it goes to the kids. It's the finality of it for me. It has creeped in. I didn't want to get into this and this, but I've never had panic attacks ever.
Okay.
I still haven't, but I get very worked up recently over not death. I'm either gonna get sick or start crying here. It's that there's nothing else, that you can't come back.
Yeah.
Do you know, I don't care if it's fucking guts and glory or how you go. it's that's it. And people always say, oh, you live once and fucking blah blah, and yeah, let's drink pints, you only live once. And then years ago my dad just phrased it differently. He said this isn't a dress rehearsal. And then it really stuck with me that fuck yeah, because everyone gets to the end and goes, right, I know how to do it now, but you can't do it, it's gone.
Yeah.
So that's been creeping in a lot, is that's it. And I have been getting a bit worked up. We're doing the Wicklow Way in November, and I was running along, fucking loving life, enjoying everything, and then that finality popped into my head, and I started and Mark was running alongside me. I just looked to the left so he couldn't see, and I swear to fuck, it was like the kettle was being boiled and I was about to blow, and I pulled myself back and finished another 70k of the run. But I was throwing myself into that ditch to have a panic attack. My first ever panic attack. I didn't have it.
Yeah. But you felt it kind of welling up inside you. Like.
But for what? For what? Like, what the fuck was that about? I was out enjoying myself, running 127k along the Wicklow Mountains, and it just... death popped into my head, and I couldn't get it out. And I put it back to, like, remember we did the parachute jumps?
Yes.
And we've often spoke about space being infinite. And you go, oh God, yeah, that's mad. And then out of nowhere, every 8th time we spoke about it, it would hit you that it is infinite. And you get a real jolt of, fuck, that's mad, and it's gone. It's a split second thing, it's gone. And I always put it back to when we were doing the parachute jump, and your man shimmies himself out and no part of you is touching the plane whatsoever, and you're fucking just questioning everything you've ever done in your life. That split second, and it feels like 3 seconds, but it's a split second fall. That pitch of your... Yeah. We always talk about that, and we try to recreate that. And I remember one time walking to work years ago up to Johnstown, and I was walking along and popped into my head, and I literally jumped back, and a fella in the car was looking at me. I was walking that way, jumped backwards, but it was that instant, not feeling, but that instant moment of I was able to recreate the fall from the parachute jump, that space is infinite, and that I was going to die, and there was no way back. And those 3 split-second moments over the last 15 years, and one of them was doing the Wicklow Way. I haven't told Mark this either. And since that, I've had a 3 second panic, brought myself back down over fucking death. And it's the most stupid. And I said to Tony, and I said, it's the most irrational fear, and he said, well, it's the most rational fear because it's going to happen. But I've never feared death. It's the finality.
The finality, as you say, yeah.
If that's even a word.
No, but whether it is or not, I get you. Like, you know, kind of way.
Yeah.
But you see, it's only the finality of it is only. It depends on your perspective, I suppose, like most things. But it's only final for you. Like the.
Oh, I know. And then, like.
Or is that the worst part
like
of it?
Fucking quick, write a book so you're never dead, or write a song so you're never dead, and you know. There's something there after you, but your kids are there after your legacy, and well, not legacy, but you know what I mean, your lineage. But yeah, I didn't want to get into that, but I don't know why, but I've never had a fear of death up until recently enough, and yeah, I think it was when I had one of the kind of, they're not panic attacks. It's a race of the brain for a split second.
Is it an anxiety attack?
No.
Distinct from a panic attack?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just the brain not being able to process that you're not going to be here, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a split second thing. I've always managed to pull myself back.
And is it a tiredness thing? I mean, is it a physiological response? Like, is it like I remember reading before or hearing on a podcast that it can be hard to think when you're exhausted. And I've noticed that firsthand. So I'd be running a marathon or something, and I'd know I'd be running 5k kilometers, and I'd know I'd have 10k left.
Yeah.
But it'd take me 15 minutes to not even be able to figure that out, like 10 by 5, because it's a kilometer and it's 5 minutes and there's 10 of them, and you just can't do it because you're just so fucking tired and you're so exhausted and so drained. So when that hit you on the run, say, beside your man, was that at a particular low point physiologically speaking, do you think, or was it all up in your head? Was it a pure mental thing? Or a bit of both?
It felt like it just literally popped out of nowhere.
On an unremarkable part of an unremarkable race.
Yeah. Like I know I was doing it with I think 15 kg in the bag to train for the spine race, and I'd never done it before, so within minutes I was bollocksed, and I had 127k to go, and I was absolutely wrecked, and it was all it's the Wicklow Way, it's all the mountains, not through them, over them, and maybe it was something as simple as just I looked across the field and I went, this is fucking class, this is living, and then kind of just spiraled. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
I remember when Mike Tyson did DMT, he talked of this rocket ship.
Yeah.
For a split second.
Yeah. You're blasted.
So that's what that was like. Just everything racing around your head. You're going to die, and then grand. Because I didn't throw myself into the ditch. If I threw myself into the ditch, I genuinely think I would have had a proper
meltdown or
panic attack. I don't know. I've never had one before, so I don't know what they are.
Are you
people listening going, well, that's a fucking panic attack?
Well, my understanding of the way I conceptualise the difference between an anxiety attack and a panic attack, and I'm not qualified to fucking say this, just if on the off chance somebody listening thinks I'm not qualified to talk about anything really, other than my lived experience, I suppose. But to me, an anxiety attack is more like when you're driving along, you're not speeding, you're not doing nothing wrong, and the next minute there's flashing blue lights behind you, and you're like, oh fuck, they got me. That feeling, that's more of an anxiety attack. It's more of a, but a panic attack typically
not in control of your own surroundings.
It's not even that, but it's far more, it's less in your head and far more physiological. So there's the mental end of things, it's impending doom. With a panic attack, you feel like you're going to fucking die, and you're not going to die, in a week. You're going to die now, and your man beside you is going to be looking at you, and you're going to be there, and it's going to be this awful ordeal, and
so
you're going to look fucking stupid, basically.
Yeah. No, never come close to that.
But on the more physiological side of the panic attack, then you'd be hyperventilating, and your blood will go through the roof, and all the rest.
Yeah, and the domino effect, like the brain triggers
something, and it triggers the brain, and there's a positive feedback loop. Yeah.
And things spiral out of control then. Well, anxiety is the pit of your stomach, fear. Yeah,
more so. And again, I probably shouldn't say any more than I already have, given that I don't really know the difference myself. But are you religious at all?
No. I was only thinking of this on the way over. I was like, he'll bring religion up in some stage. No, I don't have a faith. Organised religion, fuck no place for it at all, to be honest. It should be in the home, and that's it. But you'd have to envy people who genuinely believe that they're going somewhere after life.
Do you?
Yeah. Now, do they really believe it? I don't know.
Bit of false consolation. Or is there anything wrong with false consolation?
I don't know. They say there's no such thing as atheists in the trenches. They all call for God.
Yeah, religious people say that. Atheists don't. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like there's been plenty, and it's been well documented. That whole
I'd love to have a faith, and I'd love.
Would you though? I'm surprised at that.
Yeah. Because I sorry, no, not that I'd love to have faith. I'd love if there was a heaven that we all have the crack here and then go off the next time and then you're there forever. Because if I had the choice to live forever, of course you would. friend of mine the other day said he wouldn't. I was like, no fucking way. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be gone on the whole heaven thing. Like,
a chat would say not heaven, because when you mention heaven, all you think is priests. And,
well, I like the idea of heaven on earth.
Yeah, or say immortality. Say like, but if you could live forever, of course you'd.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But there's no way back then.
What do you mean? There's no way back?
So if you say no, I can have one of those episodes now.
Well, what I can say, what I can say is I don't know. I'm happy with not knowing. I'm happy enough with the ooh, I wonder what's going to happen. Do you know, like, kind of like I wouldn't stridently say that. I used to during my devout atheist days, I would have said that, you know, it's like a light bulb turning off. Just you're gone. That's it. There is no more.
So now, what do you think?
Well, now my stance is I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've seen other worlds than the world that we're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. So you believe that your soul could carry on somewhere.
Yeah.
Not that you're you've turned into a leaf and you're sitting there looking at stuff, but I don't know. I don't believe in heaven at all. But I'd love that. I'd love to think that. I don't know. There's just a.
Will you be
calming float of after? I don't know what the fuck. I really don't.
But you see,
there is some drugs, and I tell you.
But you see, I think an important distinction here is what lives and what dies. So I think, in the more typical kind of Christian Catholic belief, that Graham Macken goes to heaven and your body just kind of disintegrates into the ground. Like they say your soul rises up out of your body, but I think to a large degree what they mean is your ego, your thoughts, who you perceive as being you. But in the psychedelic community, at least, there's more of an emphasis on when you die, Graham Macken is no more. That the thing that has the thoughts is no more. But there's another component part of you, which is your soul, and it's eternal. So.
But is it floating around looking at flowers and animals?
No, because but you see, this is the thing. It's a framing problem. So what you're thinking of is it looking at other things? But that would imply that there is a seer.
Are you aware of it?
When you say, "Are you aware of it?"
Yeah. So this is fucking swings and roundabouts. We're never going to get.
No, I mean it's an eternal conversation. Like.
Right.
But the thing about psychedelics is, especially if you take enough of them, and I wouldn't blanket suggest that everyone should try psychedelics. Quite the contrary.
Drugs are bad.
Drugs are drugs.
Bad
like
drugs
hammers are fucking are hammers. You know, build a house, crack you over the face with it. You know, it depends on how you use it, why you use it, and all the rest of it. But with psychedelics, when you've been brought to another dimension or plane or existence or whatever that's completely different to this existence, you kind of go, oh fuck. I was a bit quick to say everything is lights out at the end.
Yeah, it was through Ivor's podcast and a couple of the Joe Rogan ones. Yeah, they're real firm believers in something else.
You see, when you've seen it, it's kind of undeniable.
I know, but do you not think that you saw it within your brain and not within the other world?
I did, but everyone tends to see pretty much the same fucking thing. Do you know
what
kind of way?
Like the children of fucking Fatima saw the same thing.
Yeah, but they were buying into an ideology. Like there are people who have had these experiences who've never heard of psychedelics. Do you know, kind of way, they've never read any of the literature, they've never gone down a rabbit hole, and they've maybe accidentally ingested whatever psychedelic substance it is, and they report what all the fucking psychedelic heads report.
Was that not just their brain though? Was it not? Is there not something in there that when the psychedelic hits, it just, but there's nothing, there isn't a doorway to the other world, it's just your brain playing tricks.
Look, it could well be.
Yeah, but
it
it's
could
the
well
peace
be.
of mind of. Have you read up on mind uploading?
Ooh, I.
That's not for today now, but.
Well, let me just see if we're talking about the same thing. So the idea being that you basically upload your mind to the cloud. Okay.
And it updates itself.
I heard it updates itself.
I heard it on Pat Kenny. was like, oh, here we fucking go. But they were just talking about it. But there was a professor of something talking about it. But I don't know anything about it. That's as far as I got, and I googled it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Apparently, your memories keep. I don't know if somebody does it for you, or I don't know.
Are you familiar with simulation theory?
No.
So
simulation.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that everything. So if you imagine, have you ever worn a VR?
Pointless.
Have you ever worn a VR headset or anything like that? Virtual reality.
No.
So you put
Not
on
the new ones. No.
You put on the headset, and you do this, and instead of your arms going up and down, your wings move up and down.
Yeah,
and you're fucking flying. So just give that another 200 years of progressing the way it is, and you'll put one of those things on, and you won't be able to tell. Like I could. The argument for simulation theory is I can't prove that I'm sitting here now talking to you. I could be on my couch at home with a fucking VR headset on me, and it's essentially the same thing as the idea of uploading your mind to the cloud.
Right.
So it's a bit like,
even though you know you're sitting here.
Well, I think I know I'm sitting here, but it's like
you do know
the Matrix. Like they made a movie out of it.
Yeah,
like you know, you've got all these people who are being harvested as batteries, and they're just in little kind of pods in an apocalyptic world, but they're living out their existence in a simulation.
Yeah.
So there's a load of different answers to what happens after you die. Simulation theory is one. The Christians have their version, the Jews have theirs, and whatever else. Like. But it's interesting as fuck. I love all that kind of stuff. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the time I would imagine that kind of stuff is going to come to the fore of your mind is when you're fucking 500 kilometers into a whatever kilometer race. Like.
Yeah, I'll have a panic attack.
Is there much spirituality in that loop that you're in of? Like, what would you call it? Endurance athletes? Is that what you would? Is that the umbrella term for what you do?
Yeah.
And is there much? Like, is there people with kissing their fucking rosary beads at the start or the finishing?
I don't know.
Not that you've noticed it.
No, the Yanks love it, all right.
Because like in other sports, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but no, they'll thank boxers. Particularly, they always thank God at the end for supporting them and not the guy they were fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks for letting me punch the head off him.
But is there an element of that? Not that you've noticed, I suppose.
No.
Is there an atheistic side to it? Like, is there the opposite of it?
A naturistic side, nearly, because you're always outdoors. I wouldn't say either. To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Like,
never thought of it.
Like, in the rock climbing community. Weed is a big thing, cannabis is a big thing, and so are psychedelics. They're a big thing. And
because they're going to die.
Well, there's obviously a fine line between what they do and dying. But I mean, by the sounds of fucking how you started this conversation, it's not too far off removed with you, like I've had that sense of kind of, oh fuck, am I going to die in this moment? I've had that a couple of times. Twice. They were in I thought I was going to drown. One was when I was only fucking 5 or 6, and I couldn't get my face up out of water that was 3 inches deep, and I fucking thought I was going to die. And the next time I was only 6 feet away from the thing I jumped off of, but got into a bit of a panic. There was reeds kind of tangling at my feet, which panicked me more. And I and all of a sudden I couldn't see myself making the 3 feet to where I could fucking grab. And that feeling, it's not nice, like, you know. But in both of those instances, they both kind of passed, because when I was in the lake, as soon as I grabbed the thing, I knew I was all right. And when I was on the beach that time lying down, as soon as I crawled, the 3 or 4 feet that I wasn't in actually water anymore, I knew I was grand. But with you, it was like that kind of click of, fuck, will I get out of here? Lasted for a lot more than like a minute or two, like.
No, it was terrifying. And I'd always like to think I'm a very cool-headed person.
Rational, logical.
Stop, think, what are you going to do? But I had no options. Now, I mean, when I say I was cold, I was frozen to the bone. The wind, I couldn't hear anything with the hood flapping. It was whacking off me. I think I had cuts across the face because it was going. You hold your hand in front of your face, you couldn't see it. The wind turbines with the giant lights for the helicopters, airplanes. Standing there, turbine was from me to you away. I could just see the bottom of it. Couldn't see any lights, couldn't see a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And that's when, I just ran.
And had you no compass?
No, everything. It was just a silly. So it's just over this and down. Yeah, and I meet you to the side. Grand. Okay, see you in an hour. Gone. But I didn't know it was full of snow up there.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was freezing fog, wind, and then just running, just run, bog hole, run. Kept going, kept disappearing, and I was like, no, stop, go back this way. What way? You've lost your way. There is no way. But like, if I went left, I would have came across eventually where I had come from, probably. But I say go left. It's not a road to the left. Have you ever walked, like, I did a compass course before, like, and you're looking down at the compass and all of a sudden you've run this way and you're meant to go that, like, there is no straight line in the mountains. You can't turn left and go left.
Yeah, but if
you could go a full circle within a kilometre of yourself.
Not with a compass.
No, not with the compass. No. But this was I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
This was, I'll meet you in an hour and go for it. And I kept running, and I was like, if you lose sight of that wind turbine, or if you lose ear of the wind turbine, you're gone.
Yeah, so that was your only...
I can't go back that way.
Yes.
I won't make it to the road. So I just ran like fuck to get out of it. And then, big river. I was like, you have to cross the river. I was like, oh no, I'm not crossing the river, but I had to cross the river. Turned out I didn't have to cross the river, so I had to cross it again.
Brilliant.
But it was just that first kind of maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes of, right, you've picked right, you've picked this way, fucking run. And then after about 5 minutes, I think I got out of the fog, could see that light and just made my way to that light. And then the next morning, looking up at the mountain, just going, and Andy saying I couldn't see any of that. I could see to that tree there.
Yeah, and everything past that was gone.
How was I meant to get out of it? Do you know? And there's no towns. This is the Spirit Mountains. Nobody lives up there. Nothing. Go days without seeing anyone.
Yeah, which there wouldn't even be a fucking telegraph pole or a wire or anything for you to follow.
Nothing. She couldn't even see your hand.
And was the timing off? Like, should you have been doing that in daylight, say? I know hindsight's fucking great, like, but...
Doing it in midsummer would have been perfect, yeah. But we had the window.
And what was the window?
That I trained for the spine race. I was fit as a fiddle. That I was doing RAM in June, and then if I didn't do this in January, February max, then it's too late. Because I need
It'd be too close to RAM.
Yeah. And then your fucking RAM cancelled then again, so.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Fucking hell.
So I'm going to try and do it this midsummer, that I can start at 4:30 in the morning, no head torches, finish 9 o'clock at night, no head torches. If I need to go in a bit later in the night, whatever, sure, what about a couple of hours in the head torch? And no snow, no hypothermia, nothing.
This is it's a well-known race, but it's not an event. So how do you prove essentially that you did it and that you did it in the time you did it in? And
so it's only been done once before.
Okay.
But
says him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But are you just going on what this guy said he did once?
There's an FKT, fastest known time website.
Okay.
And so he ran it in 15 days, but he didn't publish his Garmin, the route, the files. So I have to send him my files. Same with Everest. You upload your file, then your stats are there. There's no lie. You can't lie about it.
Well, you could fucking do it in the car.
Yeah. You can't Ireland's way because it's a fucking road.
Of course, but I mean, you could.
Yeah, you can hop on a bike and you.
Or
could,
5 people could do it. You could just hand your fucking Garmin over, like.
Yeah, but no. See the FKT website, but he didn't upload to that, so officially nobody has ever.
Okay.
Run Ireland's way, but he has done it in 15 days. So the plan was to have the FKT record, but also had to beat him so that if anyone ever said, "Oh, well, Don did it,"
Yeah, there was. Oh, you got the
Yeah.
fastest published one, but
Yeah,
there was the
yeah,
guy, the
yeah,
unpublished
yeah.
guy you didn't
so I
beat.
wanted to cover both. Yeah, but I'm not taking anything away from what he did. It was amazing, but he was running, I think 70k a day, and I know I could do that.
Yes.
I don't know if I could run 110k a day.
Yes. And when did he do it? This other guy.
About 3 years ago.
And do you know him?
I know of him.
Because that's the other thing. Like, I would imagine your level of elitism, and the clues in the fucking term, there's not that many of us.
No, yeah.
Like, how many people in Ireland, say, are operating on the level that you are? Within reason, not someone who's exactly the same.
Yeah,
but
now I say level, like I'm still a bang average athlete. The longer the race, the more chance I have of winning it. But like a day race, now I have come second and third in a few bits, but well behind the winner. Like I'm way off the top, lads, way off. But again, I just can't. I don't have the time, the recovery.
Yeah, but that's not your hobby horse. That's not your thing. That's not your shake.
No.
But that's what I mean.
No.
In what you do specifically, is there anyone else in Ireland doing it?
No, because I know 10 men and women that are doing the running events I do, and I know maybe 2 that do the biking I do, but none of them do both. Nobody does both.
Okay.
Nobody.
And then, like, that's in Ireland, so presumably
No,
there's
in the world.
They don't. No one does both.
Nobody does both. No.
Fuck.
I know. Yeah, that's why.
That's cool. Did you know that before you got into it? Like, was that a motivating factor?
No. Again, I don't have motivation. I do this solely for me, just to listen to my music, get away from everything, chase whatever I'm chasing, or run from whatever I'm running.
Did you ever hear of fishing?
Yeah, did a bit of deep sea fishing before, but I ended up getting hammered drunk on it, so it wasn't for me.
But like, the reason I say that is I don't mean to be overly flippant about
I'd
it.
have to be the best fisher in the world.
But like,
I would love to
listen to your podcast, listen to your music, read a fucking book, and just not have the devastating
yeah.
injuries and the
Yeah,
nearly
yeah.
dying thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, it's just bred into. Like, I'd love to go on Deadliest Catch. I'd love to do a season of opie fishing or king crab fishing because it looks horrendous. But I'd like to think I could do it.
Yeah, painting my house now is pretty horrendous. Would you like to have a crack at that?
I'm going to pay somebody to do my own. Do you know? Yeah.
Has martial arts ever crossed your mind at all?
It has crossed my mind a lot. Yeah. More the jiu-jitsu side.
Right. Why do you say jiu-jitsu more so?
I like the idea of. No, I'm not saying. I'm sure I'd be fucking terrible at it. But I know a lot of people who do it, and it instills an awful amount of self-control.
How do you mean self-control?
Because when someone's choking, you're on top of you. You can't throw a hissy fit, and you can't have a panic attack. You have to stop, be calm,
And tap out.
Yeah. The people I know, it seems to have changed them an awful lot.
Oh, it would do, yeah. Yeah, especially if you take it seriously and you do it over years. But then again, you could probably argue that about anything.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, in a way, like, if you take being a mechanic fucking deadly seriously, like, it'll have changed them over time.
Yeah.
But you're right, there is, I think, more so with martial arts. There's a different level in martial arts, and in particular with jiu-jitsu. So I think what you might find appealing in jiu-jitsu, either you're not aware of this or not, I don't know, but with jiu-jitsu you can kind of go all in. So you can spar at pretty much 100%, not far off 100% in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And kind of, you could do that, 5 times a week, but you couldn't do that with any of the other martial arts.
No.
You have to pare it back down to fucking 60-50%. But like, look, you probably can't do it 5 or 6 times a week at 100%, but you could definitely do it regularly.